So duty we must, work we must, we have to indulge. Even so, Bhagavan is very practical in telling, nahi deho vrita shakya shaktu avaptam upayat. Without action, none of us can stay. Whether it is liked by us or not liked by us, whether it is favorable or unfavorable, we have no other way than to involve into actions. Now, the question is, what is the best option available for us? That Bhagavan tells in two ways principally. In fact, three ways. One is through action, which we call yoga, or connecting ourselves to our highest spiritual identity through work. Another is through bhakti, devotionally connecting ourselves to a deity we believe in or we respect most. Another is connecting through contemplation and meditation, including nyasa, pranayama, other yogic process, where we may not have a formal deity or objective, but mainly controlling our mind, intellect, controlling our pranavayu and all this method, the yoga method. So dhyana yoga, karma yoga, and bhakti yoga is the main. The jnana vichara, which is considered an independent path, is involved in all these three, because without jnana vichara, we are most likely to remain bound in this world only, considering our sense objects and sense witnessed objective as final, nothing beyond. So we are most likely to end up in worldliness if this vichara, the concept of vairagya and tyaga, is not there. So this vichara is part of all the three systems. Sri Ramakrishna used to divide again in a more simplified way. He used to say jog dui prakar, karma jog or mono jog. Connecting God through work and connecting God through mentally. These are the two. Anyway, I am following the bhakti part first, then I shall take up the karma part, following God's own instruction in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan, towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter, in verses 65-66, he says, before that he says, Sarva guhya tamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vachaha. I am divulging before you the deepest of secrets, because I love you. So that is why, no, this is the ultimate thing that you should resort to. Manmana bhava, madbhakto, madajaji, mang namaskuru, mame vaishyasi satyamte, pratijane, priyosime, sarva dharman parityajya, mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tva sarva papebhya, mokshayishyami, ma shuchaha. Manmana bhava, it says, it put, keep only my thought in your mind, let not any other thought engage your mind. So engage your mind always in the thought of God, thought of me, the highest object that you should resort to. Mad Bhakta, be my devotee. When you go to Bhakti Shastra, we know who is a devotee. Just as men who love earthly pleasure, prosperity, name, fame, they put all their life energies into acquiring those things. They are called Vishayis. When the process is reversed, Ya Pritir Avivekana Vishayeshu Anapayini Saisha Krishner Pita Astu Bhakti Riti Avidiyate. When the same attitude that a Vishayi, a lover of earthly objects, deploys, when same attitude is deployed in a reverse manner to God and God only, that is called Bhakti. Sri Ramakrishna has made it simpler for ourselves, telling that he has divided it into three categories, which is more palpable to our earthly relationship. Just as a chaste wife, the sincerity with which she loves and serves her husband, the sincerity and dedication with which a mother loves her child, Vishayir Patitan, and the tremendous attachment with which a lover of worldly prosperity deploys his complete attention, life energies to acquiring wealth, possession, name, fame, etc. You put this together, then how much strong love it will be. Once you are able to call upon God with such intensity, you will verily have His vision. So, at least Sri Ramakrishna makes this simple utterance, devotion, sloka of Vishnu Purana, more palpable to us in this way. And Bhagavan here only elucidates that into some 6-7 steps. Manmana bhava, mad bhakta bhava, pay obeisance or respect to me only, sarva dharman parityajya, leaving all other objectives, all other alternatives. Then, samaduksha, be free from mamatva or a specific love and attraction for certain people, your blood relations, or your close relatives, or your several friends who have benefited you some way or other. This is the reasons for which we consider some people our own. And those who harm us, those who obstruct in our attainment of life's objectives, we generally consider them as enemies or foes. But a true lover of God, a true devotee, doesn't have this both options. He will equally love everybody, no personal, special relationship with them. That is us free from nirimama, free from mamatva. Nirahankara. Egoism is the promotive factor. Egoism promotes us into involvement to different kind of activities. So you have to free from egoism and egotism as well. I don't know how many of you are aware. Egoism is the sense of individuality which is rooted in selfishness. Egotism is the attitude when we love too much to talk about our achievements to others. So, this is egotism. In its ultimate level, it becomes egomania. So, a devotee must get rid of this subtle obstacles that obstructs his path in achieving the true love of God. He should be compassionate to everybody. Unselfish love and compassion, these are the most important. In Buddha Avatara, we find a special manifestation of this attitude. Maitri, the attitude of friendliness toward everybody. How subtly the divisions are made, that is this one. Samadukha Sukhakshami. We be equipoised about favorable and unfavorable things. Certain actions create pain in us. Certain actions brings joy in us. A true devotee is advised not to get attached to either options, not to likes, neither to dislikes. Neither likes nor dislikes. This is called Samo Dukkha Sukha. Then Swami, forgiveness, attitude of forgiveness. Some people definitely harms us, creates pain in us, even without a palpable reason sometimes. Even then, a devotee has no option to be angry with them or have any type of inimical attitude towards them. How difficult it is to be a devotee of God. Then another most difficult thing, santushta satatam. He should be always have contentment. This thing, without explaining too many words, if we sincerely study the life of Ma Sharada Devi, we can see what contentment is. Whatever comes in your life, sufficient, adequate, or inadequate, or insufficient, you don't bother. You are perfectly okay by doing your part of the job. Then whatever comes, accept it. This attitude. And you don't crave for more also. Whatever you gain out of your actions, adequate for your survival or inadequate, you don't bother. But go on doing what you think you should do, following the advice of gurus, scriptures, saints, prophets, all put together. That is enough. And you have no complaint whatsoever towards anybody under any circumstances. This is contentment. It is such a great virtue. You can have that only when you have been able to free yourself from all kind of desires whatsoever. Ma Sharada Devi used to use a word called nirvasana. This nirvasana and contentment, they go side by side. Parallel properties of character. Since we are discussing how to reach God in this life under a variety of circumstances, how we should conduct ourselves. So these are the factors. Then yogi means we should be always connected to the thought of God under any circumstances. That means God awareness or God consciousness should always work in the back of our mind, even when we are doing our so-called secular duties and objective, or sometimes even doing direct worship or puja or yajna of God, or even doing our official assignments, in our own establishment or as an employee, whatever it may be. But nothing in this world are free other than God. There is another verse which can make us convinced about that. Yataha pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tataha swakarmana tam abhyarsa siddhing bindati manava. It comes in the same 18th chapter, which is the gist of all other chapters. Bhagavan says, God, who is the ultimate cause behind this universe, who has verily manifested himself through Prakriti or Maya or Mula Prakriti in the form of world, jivas, their habitats, their sources of sustenance, all these things. They are only God only. So, Jataha Pravrittir Bhutanam He is very much permeating through animate, inanimate, living, non-living, seen, unseen, everything on earth. And we have to worship that God through the duties we have in our hands. Swakarmana, Swadharma. It's a big subject. We need to understand that. Whatever kind of activities we consider unavoidable or necessary for our survival, they are all God's work only. There is nothing except God in this universe. We are existing in Him only. And through our sincere and dedicated action, we should try to serve Him. This is the ultimate attitude. So this is the way. So Bhagavan discusses all these things, all these special attitudes, all this way of looking at things, ideas, thoughts, duties, which should form the character of a devotee. Now, let us move to the case of a karma yogi, how he looks at it. So, from the karma yoga, the very verse we are acquainted with, because we are regularly listening such discussions. Karmani eva adhikarastha ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturvu ma te sangostu akarmani. This is the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad to Arjuna, who is representing all of us in Bhagavad Gita. And he says, Ma manusmara jiddhasa. This, for Arjuna, it was the immediate cause, Kurukshetra war, infighting between devotees and relatives. One group following dharma, another group following adharma, which is misquoted and misrepresented and in a manipulative way taught to us that God was encouraging Arjuna to fight, when Arjuna himself was not in favor of fighting. This is a totally distorted concept. Anyway, this very existence through which we are moving in life is a kind of Kurukshetra constantly going on till we go to die, till we die. So Bhagavan says, Mahamanasmara, always remember me, at the same time do your duties, the way I am advising. You have no other option. Even if you say, I want to, I should say, do not know what you are talking about. It is your wrong discharge. Because your Prakriti, which has created your body, mind, soul, as being a cause for your this very birth, will compel you to do that. And that is decided by me. So, do the way I advise. If you think of doing anything else, you can do it. But ultimately, you will be compelled to do what you are thinking that you should not. So ultimately, beyond our likes and dislikes, the divine will is in action, divine hand is in action, and it will lead us to better situation only. It can't be otherwise. We must be sure about this. So he is doing that karmani, I have given you the right to work only. And you have no right to the fruits thereof. Naturally the issue comes when I am not going to gain anything consciously, then why should I involve myself into work after all? So in the next line he says, Ma karma phala vidurbhu. Let not the expectation of a specific result be the prompter of your actions. Ma sangastavu. Considering this, don't refrain from action. That is another kind of foolishness, because you cannot stay away from action for which your very birth has taken place, or rather, I have allowed you to be born from your mother's womb alive in this world. That means you have a distinctive role to play in this world, whether you understand it or not. So these are, you see how practical Bhagavan is talking of, but we often think they are religious things or spiritual things selected for, it is destined to be discussed and acted upon by certain people, not for us, all these things. This is our foolishness. This is truth and truth only. This is the ultimate truth, and we should not hesitate. Now, how to do this work? Nahi dehovita shakka tek shakku avaptam ajogata. I think little misquoting the verse. The meaning goes like this: any person having a body and mind cannot stay away from work totally. His prakriti will compel him to do work. So let us then work skillfully, which Bhagavan calls yoga karmasu kaushalam. So in the next part it says, yogastha guru karmani sangam taktva dhananjaya. Do this work being yogastha. This yogastha means steadfast in yoga. That is three types of work. In Sridhara Swami, in the verse called Yoga Karmasu Kausalam, he explains this verse. He says, the natural tendency of all actions in which people get themselves indulged in, some kind of expectation works. And working with expectation brings some kind of positive or negative result, which again binds them into another chain of karma. So, for a normal action that we generally indulge in, a chain of action and reactions follows. The art of doing karma, real true karma, is to work in such a way that we do our duty that has presented itself before us, but we do not allow that work to create a new seed for another chain of work. This is the kaushal, or the skillful way of doing work. So, this art of doing work is this, that natural tendency of any work that we indulge in is to create another series of work. Those works create another series of work, and we get almost in a vicious cycle and get compelled to take birth, then death, then again birth, again death, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare sayanam. The chain of birth, or which is technically called samsara. We have to bring that chain, bring a cut, or we have to stop this recreation of karma. So the seed of karma should be burnt through vichara, or through skillful action, or through devotional attitude. These are the three ways to cut off the chain. Then only, once our old karmas are exhausted, we shall not have any new work pending to compel us to take birth again. This is the art of work. So here, three things to sum up. Yogastha Guru Karmani means we have to first see that expectation of any result doesn't become a prompter in our action. Depending on our stage in the society, place in the society, in a family, some duties will naturally arrive to us. We shall simply do those things without planning that I want this outcome. Certainly, the duty, call of duty itself suggests that there is a need has arisen, so you should work, we shall work. So, phalakankha varjanam, expectation of any specific result out of action should not be our participation, but we must do the work in a desired manner to the best of our physical, mental and intellectual abilities. But we shall not expect a desired fruit. It is possible, but in the beginning, for an untrained mind, it becomes, it may not be possible. But over years, those who have tried it, they have testified that it's possible to work in this manner. Our own lives, more or less, are moving in this direction only. We find it much easier to work nowadays in this fashion than we could do when we started this journey, say, consciously, some 45, 46 years before. Then is giving up the attitude that I am doing the work. No. God is doing God's work through the capabilities He has made available to me. So God is doing God's work. He is using me as an instrument. This attitude of instrumentality, this is the next thing for doing this karma yoga, converting karma into, our karmas are mostly karma bhoga. God wants us to do karma yoga. So we are discussing those techniques only. So first is giving up the expectation of a specific result out of it. We should be satisfied by doing our part to the best of. Suppose your child who is appearing for exam, certainly he has expectation for a good grade, good marks, etc. It is nothing wrong as such. But as a more matured person, your attitude would be, forget what result will come, what percentage will come, that will take care of itself. I am with you, and I only want you to see that you are not wasting time. You are using to the assistances provided to you to the fullest. I am satisfied. If you get 30%, I shall be with you. If you get 99%, I shall be with you. Often, we also get trapped with a student-like mindset only. Unless I get 90%, what is going to be? The life will end up there itself. This is the thing. Even as matured people, we often work in a childish manner. Bhagavan says, in any kind of duty you are doing, you should know that you are doing God's work as desired by Him with the abilities or inabilities given, made available to you. So you should do your job with 100% sincerity and dedication without expecting what type of result will come. First stage, second stage, I am doing no. God is getting things done by me. We should constantly remind ourselves this attitude. Next comes, even if we try, some kind of expectation will still lag behind in our work. So Bhagavan says, all right, complete the work and formally completely submit yourself, including the result of your work, to God. Follow samarpanam. This is what we do in puja. You have seen generally this portion is called after the Sankshipta Homam is completed. It's before Purnahati, one mantra is uttered during puja. That whatever I have done, rightly or wrongly, appropriately or inappropriately, due to my laziness or inadvertently mistakes, let all that be completed through your grace. The Shama Prarthana. And I surrender everything, including the result of this action, so-called devotional action that I have performed, at your feet. Let your will be done. This is the attitude that you should follow in any action, whether you call it secular activity or whether you call it religious activity. This should be the attitude. And this is what is Karma Yoga. That means our attitude in this world in which we cannot stay away from work should be, God is very much present in us. He is doing His work through us. At best, I can consider as the head of a family, as the chief earner of a family, that I am the trustee of some of God's children who are put at my custody. I am the custodian of different forms of God, coming a child or wife or husband or relative or dependents, whatever they are. This should be our complete attitude. And ultimately, whether we can do the work perfectly or imperfectly, without caring for that, we shall surrender the fruits of the work at the feet of the Lord. Vidhihinam kriyahinam mantrahinam jadarchitam maya nivedam bhaktya paripurnam tadastume karmona manasa vacha tatrunanya gotirmava antarsarena bhutanam drashtatam parameshwar. Our Swami Bhutashanji Maharaj used to advise another mantra to this. Yadasangam kritam karma janata vapya janata sampurnam bhavatu tat sarvam Shri Ramakrishna smaranam. Om Shri Ramakrishna Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. So the thing is, this very attitude in whatever we undertake, be it an official duty, be it a business activity, or be it the activity of running a family, or doing a social service work, these very dutiful attitude should be present in us. Then, in the beginning, our attitudes will not be 100% correct. That is why this Shama Prarthana or the Purna Ahuti mantra is there. So, today we are trying to understand through Bhagavad Gita. In fact, in every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is called Moksha Shastra. Everything is taught, but spiritual things only have been discussed. Only an normal situation, a conflicting situation have become the basis of the instructions. But the whole thing is only spiritual and only spiritual. So, in same things, through different angles, are discussed in different chapters. So we should always try to read it with as many alternative explanations available before us. And then, in our own way, we try to synchronize them, consider making it as relevant to our day-to-day life as possible, and wherever possible, we can discuss with men of same mindset, or the saints, seers, monks, and scholar people. But remember, men whose life is not moving in consonance with their sincere devotional attitude, better stay away from those advisors. Spiritual subjects can never be understood by people who are insincere and hypocritical. So before taking anybody's advice, be sure, শ্রীকৃষ্ণ সাধুকে দিনে দেখবে রাতে দেখবে তারপর বিশ্বাস করবে. Be very critical about the whether this man's life is synonymous with his words or not. Then only go to discuss this thing. Otherwise, do everything on your own. Stay away from false prophets. So with these words, with the same prayer, he says, Yada sangam kritam karma janata vapya janata sampurnam bhavatu tat sarkam Sri Rama Krishna 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Rama Krishna.